Namaste, friends, and welcome to Global Focus. I am your host, Hari Sinha. In today's episode, we dive into one of the most volatile flashpoints of our time, the escalating war between Iran and Israel. This conflict is not just redrawing West Asian geopolitics, it's putting global stability at risk. But what does this mean for India? With a strong tie to both Israel and Iran, India now finds itself walking a tightrope, balancing strategic partnerships, energy needs, and regional interests. To help us unpack this complex diplomatic puzzle, we are joined by Saptarshi Basu, a respected geopolitics expert and a dynamic educator, known for making tough global issues accessible and engaging. Stay with us as we explore India's strategic dilemma in a world that's changing by the hour. So, Namaste Saptarshi Basuji. Welcome to our platform.
Thank you for inviting me, sir.
Sir, this is a very interesting part, and the world is anxiously looking at it, how far it will go. So, Saptarshi Basuji, what does the conflict mean for India's strategic autonomy and its role in the evolving multipolar world order? What's your comment?
The conflict is basically a big setback for India's geopolitical equation and also India's aspiration to lead the global south. The global south, under the able leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, had become an alternative to the NAM movement, which was initially formulated by Pandit Nehru as a alternative to the bipolar world order which was created by erstwhile Soviet Union or the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc under NATO CENTO command. Today, the advocacy for high table and a rather equitable behavior for all other nations, including India, to free themselves for that bipolar disorder, if we can say, of the country. So we can effectively say that this movement or this geopolitical initiative taken by India to be the voice of the global south has been affected by this conflict, because Israel being the first world country and Iran in the south, third world bloc or the global south, also the member of BRICS, also the member of SCO, also the member of Global South Order, has now been forced into a very hard corner or a hard stand. It has fragmented the Arabic bloc, which was stabilizing under the Abrahamic Accord. Now, as of today, we have a catch-22 situation that it is quite possible that India might come to a very difficult situation vis-a-vis the voice of trade autonomy, a corridor which was to open from the Middle East via Western India right through Haifa and ending in European state. That seems more distant than ever. So if we do not have more trade bonds, more cultural exchange, more corridors which can basically create people to people connect, then India's leadership in this region takes a setback. Secondly, the fear that has been created in the mind of the Middle Eastern region and the flashback due to the Islamic hardliners now calling for the blood of the Jews and the destruction of America, which have been given fuel by the Iranian attack or the attack on Iran's nuclear facility by United States, that will cause some serious concern. That will put the regimes which are already in Abraham Accord under tremendous pressure. At the same time, it will put newer regimes like Saudi Arabia, which was to sign the Abrahamic Accord,
mm,
with a geopolitical mark shift.
mm,
It will also embolden the Sunni powers, which were initially counterbalanced by the Shia Iran, to now, under the influence of Wahhabist preachers, to pursue pan global Islamic jihad on the Sunni strength. Because there, as we know, that in a jungle, if the food chain is upset and the natural predators are killed, the prey outgrows so rapidly that it basically overwhelms the vegetation. So
mm,
something of this, as far as Middle East is concerned, Iran was a balancing factor to Turkey. Iran was a balancing factor to even Saudi Arabia to some extent. With the removal of Iran from the geopolitical calculus,
mm,
all these powers might become unhinged. Especially Turkey is today showing the signs of taking the mantle of the fountainhead of the global Islamic Ummah
mm,
and trying to give military hardware
mm,
and let us say sensitive technology, war making technologies to all rogue regimes, including Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other anti-Indian regimes.
mm.
So that complicates the scenario tremendously. One thing is for sure, Muslim Brotherhood, global Islamic jihadist organizations, transnational organized criminal network, oil smuggling, etc., clandestine networks and black money trafficking will increase at alarming rate to whatever has been the geopolitical situation created unless and until a firm regime change happens in Iran and it creates a massive policy revision
Mm.
compared to what has been done under the institution of the Vilayat Council leadership in Iran.
Should India take a more assertive role in West Asian diplomacy or continue its cautious, non-aligned approach? What's your recommendation?
India had taken a very assertive role initially, and we had multilateral trade and bubble agreement and rupee exchange agreement with several countries. We were laying the basic foundation of non-chase banking commerce
Mm,
to currency exchange bubbles. So India's actions which were there now is facing setback due to the geopolitical instability which is in that sector. Further challenges are overdue. Once there is a permanent bad blood, and if that there are only two scenarios out of this situation.
mm,
Either Iran will prevail
mm,
and the present regime will become extremely rabid and anti-Jewish
yeah,
or anti-Semitic, and there will be no chance of reclamation or ever reconciliation
mm,
between the two antagonistic power of Iran and Israel. And the situation will become an unstable status quo, punctuated by brief acts of organized terror and equally effective and inhuman reprisal. So that is one geopolitical, I would say, pathway. Another can be rise of Muslim Brotherhood,
mm,
rise of Al Qaeda,
mm,
again rise of ISIS, using the fall of Iranian regime and attack by, uh, let us say, the Western countries on Iran as a pretext,
mm,
trying to uh, spread the narrative of Muslim victimhood or Islamic victimhood to something like the call for global jihad
mm,
or second launch of the jihad against the crusade.
mm.
Since that is their civilizational memory, so a long drawn fight to the end kind of scenario can get generated, which is not good, which is not good for any geopolitical order. So this will also embolden and terrorize other Middle East countries, which were very happy to be under US umbrella.
Mm.
That okay, big brother US is there. Even he has basically given some donation to some fund. He will look at the security architecture and umbrella. The way US has taken steps
Mm.
in favor of Israel and in antagonism to a lot of Arabic leaders during the recent meeting
Mm.
in public humiliation with the Trump administration has done will create a very, very hardline kind of attitude with these regimes and a lasting hatred for United States and anything West in the times of memoria to come. So this will create a fracture line which was not existing before,
Mm.
and that will change a lot of dynamics.
So, how does the conflict affect India's connectivity ambitions via Chabahar Port and the international north-south transport corridor?
Uh, Chabahar port, the transit through the Middle East now is in active airspace denial and war zone.
Mm.
So under such circumstances, international trade cannot be carried out through those corridors which are declared war zones purely due to the insurance parameter and the insurance value exceeding the freight of the cargo. Number two, other let us say corridors which were planned, they will also become extremely contested and probably hit by military attacks. So
Mm.
these kind of situations are very much possible. So that will uh, need to be examined. That will need to be examined immediately, and a solution needs to be put in place by a lot of geopolitical, I would say, headbanging, to be precise, with expert opinions of various regimes,
Mm.
cobbling together uh, friendly regimes and creating a consensus. Because you see, Lebanon,
Mm.
Syria, Turkey, this has formed an axis of instability. The rise of a terrorist regime replacing the secular Ba'athist regime which of Bashar al-Assad is now a big challenge or one of the biggest destabilizing factor after the fall of Saddam Hussein and rise of ISIS. The same ISIS has rebranded itself and become the master of uh, Syria,
Mm.
modern day Syria, and the kind of genocide
mm,
which has happened recently in Syria, and the total global apathy to the killing of non-Muslims in Syria, and a blanket check which is being given to this hardened ISIS rebranded leader Jolani,
mm.
uh, gives a lot of concern to the hollow claims of war on terror and war on, let us say, uh, extremism. Though it is acceptable that the Ayatollah regime was equally extremist in its approach and
Mm,
radical in thought process
mm.
and non-conducive in their international relationship, but what comes after may be even more destabilizing.
Yes.
So India has to work with partners like Israel
Mm,
and has to take them in deep confidence, and also work with regional peacemakers and influencers such as Egypt, such as Saudi Arabia, such as our friends in Emirates,
mm.
to create a area conducive for future businesses and our presence in that.
So could India's extension from the UN resolutions critical for Israel backfire diplomatically with the global south or a SEO elite?
India's support from Israel cannot be denied.
Mm,
Today, after 7th of October
mm,
2023, the ability for a state to remain idle
mm,
or non-partisan to the existential war of Israel
mm,
will be very, very similar to anti-Semitism. One thing is for sure, Hamas or no Hamas,
mm,
PLO or no PLO, Hezbollah, no Hezbollah. The brutality, the genocide, the barbarism, and the wanton act of death, destruction, masochism,
mm,
rape, plunder, which has been demonstrated with Hamas by
mm,
Hamas terrorists, becomes similar responses, or at least whatever has been happening even today, hitting of 23 targets in Gaza Strip.
mm.
That is the kind of response which is only possible against such an incident. So, if I can say, it is not possible India not to support Israel. Whether we have been benefited of it or not is a secondary matter, because, as Sanju said, in case of an act of state policy, the moral law rules supreme. What has been seen that India has been till now having the moral high ground in terms of international relations. We have been dealing equitably and equivocally with all regimes. To abandon the Israelis in the face of such wanton destruction, and when everybody has cornered its people from extinction, there is no option with India. At the same time, support from Israel cannot or must not be construed as enmity towards Iran,
Mm.
which in past has been our strategic ally.
Yeah.
And Iran's role in containing Afghanistan, Taliban, and Iran's role in containing Pakistan and providing an alternative access route
Mm,
to Balochistan and Central Asia
mm,
cannot be denied. So India needs that access, India needs that presence in that area. Now, if when this regime is under such serious pressure from outside and inside,
mm,
where the existence of the regime is under question,
mm,
India has to now sit down with a lot of calculations and a lot of uh, intelligence gathering. So, as who or which party before the new power arises can be consolidated and assisted to look after our geopolitical interests in that country. So these are the strategic imperatives as of today and a very, very complicated geopolitical landscape and very, very gloomy geoeconomic scenario.
I see. So, friends, that brings us to the end of this insightful episode of Global Focus. As Iran Israel conflict continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the global chessboard is shifting rapidly, and India must navigate with caution, clarity, and conviction. A big thank you to our guest Saptarshi Basu for his deep insight and sharp analysis. If you found this discussion valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Global Focus for more conversations that decode the world around us. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware. Jai Hind. Thank you, Saptarshi Basuji. A big thank you to you
Thank you, sir.
for your valuable time.